Morning, everyone. So I'm speaking on behalf of Velma, but she is here to answer questions. In this research, we wanted to find out what would happen if the Oriental fruit fly would become established in the Western Cape and how well it would do here. So just for the history, Bactrocera invade dorsalis arrived in South Africa in 2007 in the northern parts of the country. It has subsequently become established in various areas. We had incursions in the Western Cape, as you are aware of. This map was from 2017, so in the Northern Cape region, that orange area was also becoming more and more red as we speak. So we did the research in the laboratory. We had a quarantine facility which we set up and imported the insect for the trials, which was done at the ARC. Our first question was how will temperature affect its ability to invade new areas, in particular the Western Cape, which have temperature extremes. Remember that it comes from Asia, so it has very moderate temperature there. And what we found was that the Oriental fruit fly was less able to tolerate temperature extremes, so very high and very low temperature. It didn't have as much plasticity as the Medfly and the Cape fly or the Natal fly. So that would just indicate that it would battle a little bit more to handle our low and very high temperatures in the Cape. These are the heat hardening and the cold hardening responses, which basically indicates the same thing. This is the temperature extremes for the different life stages. We found that the eggs were definitely more susceptible or more hardy, able to resist the temperature extremes, as well as the pupae to high temperature, but the larvae and the adults were very susceptible. The second question was how well can the Oriental fruit fly utilize deciduous fruit compared to Medfly? And here we found, if you look at the circles, that the Oriental fruit fly had a very, very high reproductive potential compared to the Medfly, which is very concerning. And there you can see the different fruit kinds that we tested. The third question was how well do Oriental fruit fly and Medfly compete for these fruit resources? Here are the results from the larvae and the adults. On the left, you can see that particularly on plum and apple, the Oriental fruit fly outcompeted Medfly as larvae and as adults. But then on nectarine and pear, the Medfly outcompeted the Oriental fruit fly. So the host fruit definitely does play a role, and we will expect to see differences when it comes to host. In conclusion, we found Oriental fruit fly to be a very aggressive fly that can easily outcompete Medfly adults. It is better able to utilize deciduous fruit resources than Medfly, with a very high reproductive potential. It was less tolerant to the temperature extremes than the Medfly or the Cape fly. And what we expect would happen is that during winter, then the Oriental fruit fly populations would reduce substantially, less able to tolerate the cold. But then, on the other hand, we must also expect that if the fly is exposed to our conditions, it will have some level of adaptation. We can expect it to adapt potentially to these conditions. And some acknowledgements. Thank you.